Cliffside, HRE versus China, two civilizations that I'm pretty sure we have seen on Cliffside throughout the course of the day, with Anotand now going into this game number one against Muhodo. What do you think now with HRE in China with the Pro Scout meta?
Ugh, man, it's a difficult one, right? Because for one, China has a way easier time when it comes to unlocking Pro Scout. On the other side, though, HRE, out of all the civilizations in the game, is the best at shutting down Pro Scouting. With the bonus movement speed on the Spearman and just overall having that ability of having that faster moving infantry, overall good food economy early on, especially just overall economy-wise, you're able to pump those units out very, very quickly. It's a tough one to call. I think overall it should be pretty even between the two. But something just kind of tells me that HRE, if they're able to really deny that Pro Scout, I think it depends on how the deer spawn. I'll be honest. I think it depends on how the deer spawn, whether China's able to get a good enough amount of deer underneath their TC, or if they're going to lose most of the deer to the HRE.
Yeah, I mean, Vortex said it in the interview that you've just concluded with him in that French versus Delhi matchup. He was like, well, you know, it depends on if he's able to stop your deers and you're able to get deers. And, you know, kind of boils it down into something palatable for people. If you get more deer than your opponent, you're probably going to be in a good situation, you know, especially because you have two of these civilizations that they run into a little bit of a problem when the food on the map kind of runs out. You know, it used to be when the sheep run out, the berries run out, China has to do things like get a granary transition or, you know, go out to deer or go out to boar or whatever the case. HRE would probably have to follow suit unless they wanted to get that farm transition around their Aachen Chapel. Now this kind of softens the blow a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like at the moment, in general, like this entire Pro Scout meta, it's a little bit awkward. I want to say, like, it's a little bit awkward. Depending on, like, how the deer spawn and how, like, the woodline spawn, what kind of pathing your scouts take, things can really escalate one way or another overall. Personally, I kind of liked it a little bit more when deer were something static on the map that you have to move out to. Maybe if Pro Scout was a little bit more expensive, maybe it was easier to deny, could be a little bit better overall. It's interesting to see how it's going to develop overall. It's just in general fun seeing these kind of metas like evolve over time, because Pro Scout didn't just become insane from one moment to the other. It got a slight buff. Players didn't react on that. Then some players started acting on it, started actually researching Pro Scout. And now everybody's doing it.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, it kind of started with Delhi, because a lot of people were going Tower of Victory, and then they started to go Dome of the Faith, then started getting Pro Scouts, and then they were like, oh, this Pro Scouts, that's pretty good stuff, dude. This venison, this tastes pretty good. So then a lot of people kind of started.
Were like, yeah, and then suddenly players were like, okay, Delhi's getting all the deer, I gotta get the deer. So they go Pro Scout as well.
And it's funny because Delhi, just because of the sheer timing of it, I mean, don't get me wrong, they get it for free, and that's fantastic. But as far as the timing goes, I wouldn't consider them one of the best Pro Scout civilizations. They might have came up with it, but they didn't perfect it. You know, there are some civilizations that I feel like are better. China, Zushi being some of them. And as you'll notice, for Anotand's side, China and Zushi are banned. For Muhodo, Zushi and Rus, a very prominent Pro Scout civ, is also banned.
Yeah, and Delhi gun for both players as well.
So
kind of makes you think where the priorities are. Muhodo, though, he got Byzantines in. That's
yeah,
some good picks there on his side.
And we kind of talked about that quote unquote indirect nerf for Byzantines, because they don't do that. They don't do Pro Scouts. I've experimented maybe once or twice about doing Hippodrome and then horses and then Pro Scouts with the Hippodrome. I mean, the winery is just really good, though.
Yeah, the winery does provide for you after all, right? Like, you get a lot of resource from that one. Definitely not a landmark that you can really complain about. Getting so much oil, you just don't know what to do with it. You can, like, what do you do with that much oil? You can only cook so much steak.
Yeah, I mean, you just end up lathering yourself in it and make yourself a golden horn tower. You know, that's pretty much it. And that's what a lot of the Byzantine players end up doing. I mean, obviously we've seen some gulping, and there might be potential to do that in this series if Muhodo wants to get a little cheeky, but definitely more so in the defensive / reactive civilizations here with Mali, with English, with Muhodo, with Abbasid as well.
I wonder if there is such a thing as professional water slide riding. The Byzantines would be coming in handy in that one. They just use oil, man. They use oil and they slide down.
Like if they were on cliffside, they could make that a slip and slide, dude. Let me tell you.
Ooh. They got the setup, like nature setup provides for you there. You just slip and slide right into the enemy space.
Yeah, and then you get hit with a bunch of arrows, and then you die. But man, you look so good doing it. Now we are done stalling, ladies and gentlemen. The players are ready. Game number 1 coming to your monitor. Anotand as the HRE, spawning on the south end of this cliff on cliffside. Muhodo as the Chinese color red, spawning in the north. Now, maybe people might know about Anotand a lot, and obviously he's a fantastic streamer. I love watching him. I love watching his games. Muhodo might be something that the public might not know as well. So do you have any kind of background on Muhodo, where he hails from?
Muhodo has been around for a while. He plays the game, like a lot of us do. He's currently in VS. I play against him every now and then on ladder. That concludes the information that I have for you.
Okay, great. That's excellent. I think also he is of Polish descent, and you guys can correct me if I am incorrect.
You're correct.
Fantastic. So HRE in the Dark Age, trying to get some little razzle dazzle on Muhodo's Chinese gold mine, and maybe they vacate, but just having these one spearmen might not do too much. He's going to be bringing some reinforcements in the back, and also I feel like this is really good to stop something like Pro Scout's gameplay, although with the Chinese using those taxes, maybe not so much.
Yeah, I feel like this is actually like one of those things that is a very, very solid counter up against the Chinese, because look at this. Now you're in a situation where Muhodo had to pull a lot of villagers to gold in order to be able to even afford the age up. Previously, like in the situation where China went for the early imperial official, they would have just been gathering up the sheep from the sheep and just use taxes in order to age up. So that's kind of like one of those situations where the no IO build kind of lacks when it comes to flexibility here.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, with the having to pull, I think it was 5 villagers up there. You're absolutely right. It kind of slows him down. So it's going to make his age up maybe a little bit smaller. But for Anotand, is that worth it? You know, you got to put that barracks, you got to make the spearmen and all that kind of stuff. But with the prelate helping you out, right, with them having the ability to gather those resources so quick, putting that prelate right on the gold mine, all of a sudden you go up at a somewhat decent time compared to your opponent. Now, that Imperial Academy will get completed with 3 villagers rather quickly because of the Chinese build speed. And then we'll see that IO popping out. But Muhodo is definitely scared to go back out on that gold mine. He's still got nothing.
Yeah, do we even have it?
Oh
No
my
way!
God.
He's taking them all the way back! No way! Anotand! He's taking the deer from Muhodo and he's going all the way back to his own base with him. That is... I love it. I absolutely love it. That is amazing. That is not something that I had on my bingo card for the day.
Hey, man, you got to do it.
You don't need
Pro
scouts this way. You just lure them all the way.
This is fan. Even if Muhodo kills them now, they're still on your side of the cliff, right?
Yeah.
This was something that was supposed to be set up for Muhodo to gather with those scouts, but you stopped the gold production with the spearmen that you had, and then you kited them. That is like I think that's the best anti-pro scouts thing I have seen so far.
Yeah, that was absolutely amazing. And now killing the deer, could be that he's also just going to be looking for his own pro scouts. It does look like his economy is balanced towards that idea. Spearman, once again, harassing on that gold mine. Muhodo behind this, also going for his own spearman. So he's going to have an answer to that now. Villager is going to have to move back, though. Just Just trying to get a couple more hits in on those villagers. Muhodo is gonna lose the spearman for it. Ooh, villagers, the automatic gathering there. Going to the next tree. Not really choosing the most optimal one there.
Yeah, and just like that, he can hit that Pro Scout button if he wanted to. But I think one of the glaring issues with that is I don't think Anotand has a mill.
Yeah, he does not. He does not have a mill at the moment, but what he does have is a lot of villagers over on wood. Looks like he's going for an archer range instead, and some men-at-arms as well.
So
Spicy.
he's not even worried about trying to get these deer or being able to make sure they're safe or whatever. He's just trying to get units and try to take it to him in feudal. He's making men-at-arms now.
Yeah. He is definitely still intent on getting that Pro Scout. For now, he just wants to get some units out to be able to make sure his opponent isn't going to be able to get them. That's the thing that we talked about. HRE, they're the best in the game when it comes to denying Pro Scouts.
Yeah, because I mean, their economy without Pro Scouts is insane, right? Just because of the fact that that chapel exists.
Yeah.
He's continuing to cause duress around that gold mine. Now, Muhodo did have the ability to actually click the technology, so he will be getting it, but he's going to be forced and going up against a military mass that's almost double his size, trying to get these deer from probably one deer pack that's safe, and the rest of them aren't anymore.
And behind us now has a good military mass out on the map. Muhodo, he's only got 2 spearmen to his name. Now the archer gets revealed as well. Means that's going to be very tough for Muhodo to really get anything done with the Pro Scout. He's got the upgrade, but he doesn't have the scouts. He doesn't have the map control for it. And he's just sitting in the middle, building up military. And you never know. Yeah, he's going for his own Pro Scouts now behind this. And give it a little bit. At one point, he's going to have enough units to start pushing into the base from Muhodo.
Yeah, with how much he has, I mean, he's definitely using all of the resources that are given to him, right? I mean, look at the economy difference. 600 food per minute, and he's got that little bit of wood just to make sure, but he knows what he's going for. He's going for men-at-arms, which costs a decent amount of food, right? And then he's going to be backing them up with a little bit of spearmen and some archers in the back as well, depending on if there are any spearmen out there. So Anotand's army comp is looking great, depending on what Muhodo is going to push into him. He's looking for those horsemen, but feudal age men-at-arms, they still do a good job against them.
Yeah, 100%. Something that just got noticed as well. Look at the sacred sites. They're all on the left side of the map.
Jeez, it's a good thing. It's a good thing we're not seeing Delhi.
Yeah.
All those on the left side, you just wall those up really quickly, and then it becomes a problem, right? But now Pro Scouts is completed by Anotand. He's already got 3 scouts out there. Muhodo doesn't have a single scout on the battlefield. I don't know how many deer he's gotten, but it cannot be too many right now.
He's gotten less than 1 so far.
Oh, that's 0. Yeah, that's rough.
Close to Syria.
No, what? Oh my god.
Horseman.
You
now
proud of yourself?
Against yeah, very. I'll take that one.
Oh my god. These horsemen, yeah, they're going to be... Now with just that men-at-arms only having 1 or 2 of them, they're not exactly that DPS unit, right? So the horsemen will be able to take them at a 4-to-1 discrepancy, but Anotand continues to remain high on that military count, and we're seeing just Chinese normal archers. No Barbican means no Zug Nu.
Yeah, you're not able to unlock those until you get that Barbican up. 8 archers on the field for both players right now. I mean, in theory, the military for Muhodo isn't bad here. If he's able to snipe down the spearman, that is. Movement speed, and Anotand, he's also the first one to get the blacksmith upgrades in.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he has the ability to, being the Holy Roman Empire, but Muhodo is starting to hoard a little bit of resources. You know, I mean, there's a decent amount of food in the bank and a little bit of gold as well. He's still producing units, but it begs the question, maybe he has Castle Age on his mind. Let's see if Muhodo's archers could target those HRE spearmen, and they are effective in doing so. There aren't enough archers to really pepper down the Chinese archers, and those spearmen are going to get quick work made of them. One spearman left, and it is down. There ain't nothing to deal with these horsemen, and these archers are going to go down too.
Yeah, great fight here by Muhodo. Able to take some map control, but behind this, Anotand, he's pretty much cleaned up the majority of the deer of the map.
Yeah, so even if Muhodo ends up winning this battle, and obviously he was somewhat victorious, close to his base. Good job not overextending and kind of backing up a little bit, but also, if you're playing against Anotand, where exactly are you raiding? Where exactly are you going? You know, there's a gold mine that's in the back,
Probably
which might be okay, but that's it.
I'm expecting that to be an outpost on the gold from Anotand at this point in time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially with how much
No
gold
outpost.
or how much food that he's hoarding. Oh, no outpost. Okay.
No outpost,
With
yeah.
how much food that he's hoarding, I'm thinking he's looking for some sort of castle age something. You know, he definitely has the macro for men-at-arms and how much food he's getting. 1,400 a minute, Crackety.
That's a good amount.
Insane.
Yeah, that's a very good amount. You probably won't complain about that much food if you're Anotand right now. That's a little bit obscene.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's got pro scouts, he's got survival techniques as well, and he's going to be going right under that Orchid Chapel. So that's it. That's all you need for your food, and especially getting about 3 packs at this point. He really has no signs of slowing down, and definitely is able to continue to produce units like food-heavy units, men-at-arms, horsemen, that kind of stuff, while still having enough food to go to Castle Age. Muhodo is trying to get to the same level and produce units and go up, but I think he's going to be a little behind.
Yeah, the units are stepping up from Anotand. Vultures jumping inside the outpost, but there's a lot of men-at-arms now. Oh, that's difficult to fight.
Yeah, I think that outpost, the Chinese, going to have to use some of their reinforcements to make sure those villagers stay alive. It looks like he's more concerned with the villagers than the actual army. Men-at-arms trying to take down some of those bills. The horsemen are quick to follow as well. And it looks like, let's see, these men-at-arms, they're trying to find those archers, but horsemen surround a little bit of that HRE archer front. But while this is all going on, Crackety, Anotand just hit up with the Regnants.
Yeah, you know what? Like, you're fighting at the front side, you got way more army value than your opponent, you push him back, and you just age up behind it, because why not? Yeah, that's the Holy Roman Empire in a nutshell. They're kind of crazy with the Arcade economy, and the Pro Scout combination just takes it all and turns it up to 11.
And, you know, he was even able to get a little bit of farming going, too. Look around his Orchid Chapel. I'm counting maybe 5, 6 farms, and he's continuing to build a couple of them as well. I don't know what other civilization is able to do this. I really don't.
Yeah, it's not really any that comes to mind, right?
It looks like Muhodo will be quick to follow with the Imperial Palace and probably will get that done almost at about the same time. But this is Anotand's map right now. You know, he's trying, stopping some of these scouts with the horsemen that he has. He's still running around the map.
Yeah, Muhodo behind this, able to reach Castle Age up as well, though, so fairly similar timing between them. He's going to lead a lot of crossbows very quickly, though. Anotand has already got 2 prelates out on the map. Starting to get up some of those relics.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to continue, Anotand is, into some spearmen, into, it looks like that's the veteran men-at-arms upgrade. So he will be getting the, or normal men-at-arms, I should say, excuse me. Now that he does have those, you're absolutely right. He's going to need some crossbowmen. What do you think about, at this point in the game, when you need a unit, do you usually supervise in this spot?
Yeah, I think in this situation, when you're about to have to survive the timing push, that's when you supervise the archer range. Just because you need the units out quickly or you die. So it's better to just supervise and not die.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're kind of thinking, well, I need them for resources, but if you don't have any, you know, military, I don't really care how many resources you have. So that's an excellent point. And it looks like these archers will be able to repel some of those men-at-arms down the back. Muhodo trying to scoop up some of these relics. And Crackety, we just traded a minigame for another minigame. Oh my god. You lose
Getting it. Second successful low we've seen today.
Wow.
I suppose there aren't that many at the front side. Let's be careful with them. definitely can't afford to leave them behind. Archer's now frontlining. Archers from Anotand also focusing down the crossbows. Doing a good job there. But he's diving a little bit deep underneath the TC with the hand cannon placement as well. But there's more enforcements coming in as well. Imperial official gets taken down. At least they are cheap and you can remass them from the Imperial Academy. There's horsemen in the wood line. Muhodo, he's losing a lot of villagers, already down 9 in this game. And sure, he's able to buffer this out and push Anotand back, but can he recover from this position? Doesn't really look that likely.
No, because I mean, look at where Anotand has a decent ranged mass, and it's going near the production, right? It's near most of where the archery ranges are, the stables are, all that kind of stuff. Now Anotand starting to back up just a little bit, but that damage, Crackety, that was great damage. You're working against an HRE economy that's getting inspired while you just lost 14 of your own villagers. You're in for a bad time.
Yeah, less than 100 food per minute for Muhodo, and meanwhile Anotand's at 1400 food per minute. First couple of farms have already come in for him, and these farms, I'll tell you what, they gather up quicker from farms than other villagers from other civilizations gather up from deer.
Crazy. Just absolutely crazy. And because of his economy and having the ability to do that, I'm curious to see how many farms that he has around his Aachen Chapel, because then once those farms are done, once he was able to have those, he's good. Like, it's not, he doesn't have to worry about food anymore. He still has some carcasses back there as well. Does have one relic. Second one will be trying to get in his possession. Looks like that one on the northwestern side of the map is going to be hotly contested, but I feel like Crackety, even if he gets 2, I mean, 3 is obviously beneficial, but even if he gets 2, I think he's still doing fine.
Yeah, I feel like no matter what happens at the moment, Muhodo is in a great spot. Because Anotand already has the farm transition going for him, right? Muhodo still has that ahead of himself. He's trying to also go for a second TC, at least from the looks of it behind this. It's not even Song Dynasty yet. He can't make granaries at the moment. Like, you also need Song Dynasty to unlock granaries. Ooh, Waterloo comes in.
Oh, I think that prelate's looking like it might be trying to take a yoink out of it, but wait, a couple more crossbows. Nope. No religious artifact for you. And that one's right next to the Chinese base. Hopefully Muhodo can scoop that up for his benefit, but he's going to be dealing with raids and raids and raids. Now, men-at-arms are at a good enough mass. He's got 16 of them on the battlefield right now. These Chinese villagers, they gotta find a door to walk through.
Yeah, there's only one door though, and that one's gonna take him out of the game. And there it is. GG comes in. The HRE, I mean, there's a reason why this matchup has been feared for a long time, right? Like, HRE versus China, it's just the timings that come in. The economy, the follow-up into Castle Age, the relics. China just has difficulty keeping up with that. And it doesn't change in the Pro Scout meta.
It kind of feels like Muhodo and Chinese has a game plan, but the HRE just does it faster than you. Like, it's it's relatively a similar game plan, but the HRE is just better at it. So you end up going down. Looking at some of those resources, we can see who won that Pro Scout game. 12,000 food for Anotand, 8,000 for Muhodo. And even just with some of that gold as well, I think Muhodo trying to get that second town center, but you were right. No Song Dynasty. That would have taken way too long. And the HRE could just pull out Swabia after, I guess, right?
Yeah. Here, once again, we see a great fight happening for Muhodo up against Anotand, able to whittle down the military force of Anotand. Behind this, I mean, just looking at the map, we see all of the deer icons pretty much disappear. There's only 2 remaining. And Muhodo got, like, what, 4 deer carcasses in? Maybe less? Maybe 3 deer carcasses? So all the rest went over to Anotand's side. And that is just so much food that he doesn't even really know what to do with. When Muhodo was on the berries, Anotand still had deer underneath his Aachen. And that was in a situation where I believe Muhodo had a good bit more sheep in this game as well.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like he did too. And you know, Tang Dynasty helps you with that too, just getting that extra vision on that scout. So if there's any deer or sheep around, you're going to be able to see it. But Anotand he was absolutely relentless this game. I mean, yeah, he lost that first engagement relatively, but he was able to continue to mass up while going to Castle Age, and that's the difference. One side had a bunch of Castle Age units that were fully upgraded. One side did not. And Muhodo tried. He was trying to get some of those Lancers, trying to get some of those crossbowmen, but it wasn't at the amount that could stop Anotand's men-at-arm push. Man, this kind of felt like Burgrave without going Burgrave, you know?
It did. It definitely did. Just so many men-at-arms going a mix as well. We had some archers, we had some crossbows, and overall just this slight mix of units. Grant, the meat and butter of this all was the men-at-arms. But just having a couple of horsemen, having a couple of crossbowmen in there, it made such a big difference because Muhodo, he was struggling trying to find that one unit that could deal with all of it.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I mean, those HRE men-at-arms, they're going to catch you.
They are.
Your
1.2
crossbowman,
speed.
Your crossbowman, did you want to kite? Eeh, they're going to catch
Good
you.
luck.
Oh, man, heading in this game. Number 2, Anotand taking that nice game 1, setting the momentum, and he will be on the roost for game number 2. Muhodo going on the Byzantines, a powerhouse matchup in this meta right now. 1 Pro Scouts, 1 not. 1 Olive Oil, 1 not. So which one wins? Is it going to be some Pro Scout, or is the greasiness of Muhodo going to take that game too?
Yeah, the question is, are we going to see Pro Scouts from the Byzantines here? I think Byzantines probably just wants to all in relatively early on against the Rus. I think you can just use the amount of bonus units that you get out on the map, and probably chances are that Anotand isn't going to go for the Kremlin here. He's probably going to go for the Golden Gate. So you're probably able to make some good use of that, and with strong units like the Kurasiphon as a siege unit, I do see the potential of him just trying to siege down Anotand's base.
Yeah, because a lot of the time, I mean, I guess it depends on how quick you're able to throw that out. You know, how quick you're able to get all of those units, get siege engineering, get those fancy flame rams out. And if it comes at a time when Anotand is kind of caught with his pants down and just trying to get to Castle Age, then Anotand definitely has a problem. I think this is a matchup before Pro Scouts that this was definitely Biz favorite, don't you think?
I think so. I think Byzantines should overall be favored here. You think about, okay, what does Rus do in the current meta? They 1TC, they fast castle, they try and get relics, and they, just mass cavalry archers. What does Byzantines do as a response? Well, they get Limit with shield wall. Most of the damage from the cavalry archers is just base damage, so you still get a big reduction on that with the Limit do bonus damage to the cav archers as well. And behind that, you got units like the Longbowmen or potentially the Javelin Throw, so great answer to that unit as well. You're just looking good overall, and you don't even have to directly invest into units. You can just have the Olive Oil make units for you, and behind that, go for your own age up.
And you know, it kind of begs the question, if you're going to have the ability to do that, and for Rus, you've kind of talked about every reason why the Horse Archer is a bad idea, right? What about thinking about something like Men-at-Arms in Castle Age? I know Rus Men-at-Arms are just normal Men-at-Arms, but against the feudal Byzantines, they might be okay.
The question is if Byzantines can still stay in, will still be in feudal age, because their economy is nothing to sneeze at. You know, you get, all of these different bonuses. You get the cisterns, you get the olive oil in, and it all just kind of adds up and means that you're not going to be too far behind when it comes to the age up. But I guess we're going to have to see how this one gets played out. So we're jumping right in. Anotand leading at the moment with 1 point on the scoreboard. And we're jumping into game number 2. Once again, Anotand in the color yellow, playing as the Rus, and on the other side, playing in the color red, playing as the Byzantines. We got Muhodo coming in here on Gorge, a very aggressive map in the second game of the series.
Yeah, I definitely like it.
Played out. Yeah.
Especially with, let's take a look again. We're talking about this over and over again, but I feel like we would be not doing our job if we didn't. Let's see where some of these deer packs are. Muhodo has 2 of his his home deer packs, over there on the eastern side. So it could be a good area to defend. At least he doesn't have to get split up in multiple areas,
Yeah, and if it goes into a longer type of game where the deer are still over there and not moved out yet, You could also just wall that in, and then you don't have to worry about that anymore. You could get some straight walls between the wood lines all the way to your base. You can wall off the entire side of the map there.
Yeah, that's a really valid point. I mean, a lot of people for the scouts, you're talking about different units, right? You're talking about different units that could take down the scouts, but maybe, you know, you put a wall there, the scout has to throw about 100 torches at it. Maybe that is the play, you know, and he will be most likely, as the Byzantines are, first one to the feudal age, most likely with the Grand Winery, and I'm sure Anotand will follow suit very soon. Now, those berries for the Byzantines, they're pretty in front. I don't think Anotand's going to want to do anything in feudal, though.
Yeah, typically Ruse, they do their aggression a little bit later on. Could be that we're getting like 1, maybe 2 knights out in feudal age. But usually, at least at the moment, if we're gonna see Golden Gate, then it does kind of tend towards being a build that's more centered around that castle age transition.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happens, as he's got 5 villagers on that thing to build that Golden Gate as fast as he can. And again, with the Rus using that Golden Gate, you have the ability to use it as a market that just gives you all the best deals, dude. You can go ahead and put 100 resources into it, and then out pops 150. It's like, oh my god, it's like a vending machine. It's fantastic.
Honestly, you're kind of scamming the poor guys that are trading with you there.
Yeah, I feel like the people that run the Golden Gate are rather novices in the industry. You know, it's really
you're just abusing like the uneducated there.
like I mean, it's like when you're buying anything. Like you go to a gas station, they just give you incorrect change. You're not gonna say anything. I mean, you're gonna put it in your pocket and you're gonna walk away. But once you get in your car, you're gonna be like, oh hell yeah.
Oh my god. Yep. That's exactly it, right?
Oh man. Now with this getting completed, I'm curious to see what Muhodo wants to do, what he wants to go out with, and he is going to start with a wonderful barracks, try to get those Libitane out there. Anotand already has 3 scouts. He could use excess food throughout that feudal age to try to get himself a little bit extra scouts to make sure he has a little bit of area. And maybe not even in that direction, because he's pushing these scouts, trying to make sure that one deer pack doesn't need to get taken.
Yeah, just being able to do it nice and early. Sees the scout approaching though from Muhodo, so he's gonna be like, yeah, nah, I'm killing him. They're not gonna walk all the way back.
And, you know, even just pushing it a little bit, you know,
It helps.
getting it a little bit closer. Yeah, of course it helps.
First Libitinae are gonna be coming out. I mean, especially in a situation where Muhodo went for these early Libitinae, right? Like, having those deer just so much closer to your base means that once Pro Scout comes in, the Libitinae don't really have a lot of room in order to stop your scouts from taking them into your TC.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. And because Anotand has the ability to make a lot of them, right? I mean, he's just continuing on these scouts. So for these Limitane, I mean, yeah, they're going to be on the eastern side trying to make sure that his home deer packs are relatively safe. But this is really, it's not something that Byzantines wants to do. You know, they want to get their berries. They want to make olive groves. They don't really, like, as far as venison goes, they're okay with picking olives.
Yeah, there's not really a lot of oil to be collected there from the deer, right? So not something that really fits the Byzantine diet overall. I mean, you don't even see Byzantines usually go out on the map for deer. They just make olive groves inside of the base. They're fine with that. 6 scouts already out for Ant at the moment. Now his Pro Scouts finishes, so he's going to go for the 7th one. With 7 scouts, you're going to be able to take a single deer pack in one run.
Yeah, and I think those first 3 deer he was able to push all the way into his town center. So most of that deer pack has already been gathered. I would imagine if he has not gotten survival techniques yet, he probably will very soon. On the flip side, Muhodo did go for, I did see that contract. Was that the Western contract, the longbowman, or was that the
javelin throws? Javelin throws.
No, it's longbowman.
No, wait, he canceled it? I was 100% longbows earlier. Javelin throws.
Okay. But some of these now, don't get me wrong, the javelin throwers are going to be good against things like horse archers too, but longbowmen are pretty good. They're still both okay.
You're getting more of them. Yeah, you're getting more of them as well. Couple of deer getting sniped out there now by Anotand.
Yeah, I feel like the only thing he's doing with these deer is it's gonna make him a little bit. It's gonna make it a little bit more difficult for himself if he wanted to click all of them. Obviously, with all of these limitane that are there, that would prove to be a little bit difficult to do. But at least getting a little bit of surroundings and figuring out what's going on. What's nice with these limitane as when they're complemented with some of those longbowmen, we'll see if Muhodo wants to take that little bit of a push to try to get up into that roost base.
I mean, Anton, he's doing a great job here right now, just distracting the spearman, trying to make sure that his opponent's going to have a rough time denying the pro scouts. But we're now getting the high trade house in, and a good timing. 7 minutes into the game, after investing into 6 additional scouts and pro scouting. That's a very decent timing there for Anotand. Very clean.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's a rather fantastic timing, to be honest with you. And I think a little bit of that is because he pushed those deer in right next to him, right? So he didn't have to wait for things like professional scouts to get completed, and then the deer end up getting picked up and taken to the town center, all that. Anotand just skipped the middleman and pushed them himself. So at least having those like 1 or 2 was really going to help you. And he still has a lot of carcasses back under there. So again, continuing to take Muhodo's attention in this area, right? But I feel like the damage for Anotand is kind of already done.
Yeah, H up now coming in. We do see the barracks prepped, so maybe we will indeed see a mass man-at-arms play. Never mind, there's the archer range.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be a Ruse Fast castle without cav archers.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. He's going to go with that monastery just to make sure he can gobble up those relics. Hopefully the Byzantine player, Muhodo, tries to make this a game and get up to Castle Age himself. Those longbowmen are going to help him out a little bit in that regard. And hopefully with Anotand's Castle Age rush, Byzantine's going to be able to stop it, make some Castle Age units of her own. Because you get through this little part of the game, the deer end up running out, you know, all of that kind of stuff. You have your olive groves in the back. Maybe it becomes a little bit more of an even contest.
Yeah, it looks like Muhodo also on the deer as well. Push them all towards the same spot there. Might make it easier for him to wall them in. Anotand still has 5 scouts out, and now Muhodo is moving forward with his longbows.
He's got 10 of them, and it's nothing to sniff at. Anotand only has 1 of those men-at-arms and starting to get a couple more in the queue. The limitane can be a little bit of a fodder in with these men-at-arms to try to get their longbowmen, might be able to pepper them down, but hopefully that doesn't become that big of an issue for him as he gets that 1200, 600 very quickly. Muhodo just trying to make sure, I guess with those longbowmen and limitane, that the relics were still going to be around. So hopefully he can get a monk out of his monastery, his grand winery, and end up scooping them up.
Mm-hmm. Moving out to the forward berries now. Looks like there is the first man-at-arms moving towards the relic on the right side of the map. There's 3 relics on the bottom side. So definitely something that is going to be contested here. That is where Anotand is sending those initial men-at-arms over to. Golden Horn Tower is coming in behind the stone. Right now, there's no upgrades at all on any of these longbows or men-at-arms, so no pierce armor coming in. And so longbows, for the time being, able to do 2 damage with every single hit.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. I mean, there are a decent amount of longbowmen here, and Muhodo has another one in the queue, right? So he's going to have 15 pretty soon. That relic going to get gobbled up, which is a relatively one in the middle. But those 3 on that right side, there were deer packs on that right side, the relics on that side. It feels like Gorge was almost cut in half. That left side doesn't feel like it matters too much.
Yeah, and he's got his scouts right there in the corner waiting for the right moment in time. Not to go for the deer once again. The longbows, they came all the way over in order to look at that warrior monk as he's getting the relic in.
At least the limitane tried to do something about it. It did die, but at least he tried.
They were working hard for it, yeah. Veteran C coming in though.
And the veterancy against those with those longbowmen are going to be really good, right? Just getting that base damage up a little bit more.
He's so fast. That warrior. Oh my god. Every time I see it, I swear, 1.22 tiles per second of movement speed while carrying a relic. Little bit and I have 1.25. Almost being outrun.
Yeah, that is not that big of a difference. And it's kind of surprising. Now, it can outrun Longbowman, assuming that it's outside of the range. So these relics continuing to be contested. And look what Anotand, he's just got 1 or 2 Men-at-Arms all the way in the back of Muhodo's base.
You know, he's just reminding him, hey, I'm in your town.
Yeah, it looks like Muhodo is going to have something to say about it. Going with Varangian Guard of his own and a couple crossbowmen, but Anotand's already starting to make a Horse Archer switch. He's got 7 out there right now. Limitane they're obviously deaf because that relic got picked up behind them, and they did not care about it whatsoever.
There's footage coming in behind as well. I mean, those Cav Archers are going to become a lot more tanky in the future. The Vitnai, they're trying. They're trying. It's so close. He's running. It takes forever. It takes so long. It takes so long. Oh, he stopped. Okay.
Oh.
Ah.
I think it was on like 1 health, so it might have taken a while, but maybe he would have got there. Now, with these Varangian Guard, they're actually proving to be a decent front line here against the Horse Archers, against the Man-at-Arms, but I feel like, Crackety, you get enough of those Horse Archers, they're going to rip through one of those Varangian Guard.
Yeah, absolutely. Muhodo, though, he's got a good amount of longbows here, helping him out a lot. The issue is that the mobility is definitely not on the side. Entire army moves at 1.12 tiles per second of movement speed, so very, very slow. He's going to have to rely on a lot of outposts inside of his base in order to be able to move out at all.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Anotand definitely won that relic battle. The 4th one is starting to come home if it hasn't been dropped in a monastery already. It will be. And now with that golden horn, obviously those longbowmen are going to be made, but we're going to be making some lance connect as well to try to help against those men-at-arms.
Yeah. More longbows needed behind all of this. Muhodo has a decent amount of olive oil income per minute. Now is going to get a little bit more as well from that 1 relic that he was at least able to gather up. So that's going to be another 80 olive oil per minute for him. There we go. That's the issue, right? Cav Archer starting to roam around the back of the base of Muhodo. That's why you really need to start getting some of these outposts and even in the back of your base. Either that or walls.
Yeah,
I feel like outposts are better because you can bait your opponent, right? Like you can bait them, they're gonna lose the units to the outpost. I think that's probably better.
Yeah, and because those Byzantines outposts are pretty crazy, right? You can put a mangonel tower on them, and those Horse Archers, I mean, granted they do have a little bit more health than your average archer, but using mangonel towers, definitely going to take them down in clumps. But you're right, no walls, no defensive strategy. So as long as Anotand can keep his head on a swivel, right, get 1 or 2 of these groups of Horse Archers, enough to pepper down, take down villagers at a time. Muhodo's trying to wall, might be a little bit too late because he didn't take those Horse Archers down.
Yeah, and Anotand, he did some clever pathing all the way around there, did a good job of just running away for a long time. Might potentially find some more targets then. That's the payoff. Now, fight is starting to commence there. Longbows are targeting down those cavalry archers. Cavalry archers, though, with Boyar's Fortitude, they're a good bit more tanky than they used to be. Not tanky enough. Cav archers at the same time, also hitting the economy from Muhodo. Trying to, at the very least, getting a villager kill here. Woodline will also need to be evacuated.
Yeah, and I mean, this wasn't the most fantastic fight for Anotand, obviously. He's starting to get some crossbowmen in. Shy away from those Horse Archers. You need something with a little bit more firepower, especially with all those Varangian Guard out there. So I could definitely see the crossbowmen. But continuing with those men-at-arms as the front line, now he can use those Horse Archers to not necessarily be in the front of the army, but use them for raiding. They're still alive out there, and peppering down villagers, just creating that idle time, means that Byzantine mass won't get up too strong, but I think we've already reached that point, Crackety.
Yeah, the Byzantine mass right now definitely looking strong here for Muhodo. Longbows doing a great job, even against the men-at-arms, just courtesy of having that much pierce damage to be able to even do damage against armored units there. Have archers still existing in the back of Muhodo's base. Crossbow coming in, though, some Midney as well. They're going to do great damage here now. It's going to be a plan up Anton. He needs a lot more units out, but it's really tough outmassing the Byzantines.
Oh yeah, it definitely is, especially because Anotand did use the Golden Gate to get some stone. There you go. Town center right there on the southern side. More stone to be gathered. There's a boar that's down there as well. I'm not sure if he did kill it. I'm not sure if he actually did gather from it, but he does have the potential to. So now he can kind of do a little bit of outscaling, or at least keep up with the Byzantine system.
Yeah. Second TC, I mean, we're now at this point in time where Pro Scout is going to start to fall off, but we're also seeing a second TC coming in from Muhodo. So both players at the same time, without scouting out from each other, are going for a second TC.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, we have seen Roos around this time do a second town center a little bit delayed. They get map control, they get the relics, and then they can just kind of sit back with a town center and do some stuff. Byzantines, Muhodo might notice that, might know that that's a Roos strategy normally, and going for that town center. And notice, no pro scout, right, from the Byzantines. He's like, I don't need pro scouts. I'm just going to drop a town center right on that deer pack.
And there's still a lot of deer remaining there, so still great food source to be found over there. Got a good amount of olive groves as well, so olive income, oil income, definitely looking decent for Muhodo. And said he is still going to be able to get a lot of these longbows in, and longbows is exactly what you want up against the cavalry archers, up against crossbows. With your own crossbows as well in combination, you're going to be looking good. If he doesn't move, you can't see him.
Nope. Can't see him at all. Did a really good job, those villagers did, pulling that pork over there on the south side. That's a lot of bounty for a Roos player. 220 gold essentially for free. Now it depends on how you want to translate it. With this army composition, Anotand continuing with the men-at-arms, continuing with the crossbowmen. It's a food-heavy macro, or it's a food-heavy army composition, I should say. But if there's any civ that can do it, it's probably this one.
Yeah. 100% crossbows. Starting to get some connections in, as there were a couple of men-at-arms trying to go for raids. Muhodo not pulling the villagers back, is going to lose a couple of them. Two going down. The army count still definitely looking in favor of Muhodo.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's funny because both of these players, in terms of making units, are around the same, right? With Varangian Guard and crossbowmen, men-at-arms and crossbowmen on the other side. But the difference is the heaping pile of longbowmen that you got for olive oil, right? So being able to continuously get that olive oil stuff, those groves around the winery most likely have been completed. If they have not already, they probably will be soon. Plus that second town center, I mean, this is the kind of the start of the game where the Byzantines, that late game powerhouse, starts to shine.
Yeah. I mean, this is the moment now, right? Like Muhodo, he's got the military lead, he's got a good amount of resource still in the bank. If he's able to put that into units now, if he's able to outmass Anotand in a major fight, he could be able to pull through. But right now, both players just walling up against each other. I'm not sure. Have they been practicing against each other here? Because the playstyle so far was very similar, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're just hanging out. Now, 20 minutes into Gorge, and this is usually supposed to be this quote-unquote aggressive map, right? Because there's so many different areas of pocket resources that you can raid. Well, all of these gigantic walls have something to say about it. I think Anotand did pretty good in terms of using men-at-arms as a raiding unit, creating some villager idle time. He was able to kill a couple, but overall, Muhodo pretty good with the defense. Look at that. Oh my god, Crackety, we're seeing Springald. It's Roos Springald time.
It is indeed. First Springald is coming in, but Springald's not doing too well up against those longbowmen. Definitely something that can be dealt with, and he's got a great amount of food income right now, up to 2,000 food per minute here. Muhodo not quite there yet, but the Olive Grove transition is well on its way as well. He's still mostly on deer, though.
You know, it's kind of, yeah, I think I'm going to call that as a misclick for Anotand, because now he's starting to go with some mangonels. With all of the longbowmen and the crossbowmen and stuff here, I mean, obviously the melee infantry is important to deal with as the Byzantines, but having a mangonel dealing with some of those longbowmen that are continuously kiting you, looks like horsemen trying to get a little bit of a flank around the back. take care of some of these long bowmen, I think, wow, this Byzantine player, I don't think the front line's there for him, Crackety.
Yeah, it's not that much. That one Spring will definitely been putting in overtime. But longbows are hiding back behind all of that. It's just a lot of men-at-arms. Over 30 men-at-arms. A great front line here. Wasn't quite enough crossbows in order to deal with that. Now longbows are going to have to retreat. Wasn't all the military as well from Muhodo.
Yeah, no, we're going to see some rounding out the back if we watch that retreat. So Anotand trying to shore up some of his resources back home. Yeah, it looks like a lot. There's a decent amount of crossbowmen in that back end. So, but the men-at-arms are going to do a good job against those longbowmen. They're going to be trying to kite them down while not taking too much in the way of damage. So obviously good choice by Anotand. Warrior Monk not being very religious, and he just committed murder.
Longbowman behind this, still on the retreat. Granted, there isn't a men-at-arm front line right now, so hiding back. He's going to provide Muhodo with a lot of value if he gets the shots out that he needs to. Mangonel outpost, that's going to be dangerous. I think not something that Anotand might want to dive, at least not with the crossbows, but the men-at-arms could.
And I think especially because that outpost is not fortified, right? You might be able to take a decent amount of torches and take him down. It's kind of funny because obviously those Mangonel towers can pack a punch, but they are relatively easy to take down. And Anotand obviously feels like he's ahead in this match right now. Oh, I thought he was going to go for a trebuchet. Okay, more Mangonels. I'm trying to take down some of these walls and some of these outposts. So once you get rid of that Byzantine defense, you're going to be in a good place.
Yeah, I agree with Anotand being ahead. Look at that, the Mangonel. He just ground attack there. Isn't quite able to move that with the Mangonel. That's going to take him down. Placement, fortification is coming in just in time. Still so many men-at-arms here, and one single men-at-arm was baiting out the Mangonel fire as well on that outpost. Horsemen, there are a couple of them. Doesn't feel like it's quite enough compared to the military number on Anotand's side, though.
Yeah, I think Anotand, he still has the siege, right? But once you get to this longbowman mass, it's kind of crazy how quickly they can take down a Mangonel, you know, just with the range of it and everything as well. So Anotand looking like a little bit of a starvation tactic over there, trying to make sure that any gold is not safe for Muhodo, because that passive gold isn't something that he gets, especially only on one relic. Anotand's at about 1,400 gold per minute and doesn't need many villagers to do it.
Just right now at the front side trying to get some walls up for Anotand. Definitely can afford to lose some, as he does have a good, sizable villager advantage right now. Muhodo, his income isn't looking too good. Just these couple of raids every now and then on the gold. Hurting him a lot, but it's just this gold that is not looking too hot for him. It's also a food income. And high armory is going to be coming in now for Anotand, so Imperial Age on the way.
Yeah, and Anotand, you know, kudos to him. He played this a little bit slower than I would have thought, you know, because everybody, you get a little scared of this Byzantine late game powerhouse with all the oil that they're able to get and all that kind of stuff. But Anotand did a good job. He got his relics, he got his second town center, and obviously with 3,600 extra resources, you're definitely ahead because you're able to lock down that high armory. And then, if you think that those crossbowmen are good, I don't know, Crackety, you think we're going to see some gunner boys?
I think Gunner Boys are going to be on the menu. Streltsy, definitely the high value option here for the Ruse. Don't cost a lot of resources, but pack all the punch of a hand cannoneer. Now Imperial Age is through. Muhodo. The response is going to be, we're getting some stables in there as well. So this proxy base right now, proxy attack base there from Anotand is definitely going to cause issues for Muhodo, because we've got infantry on one side, cavalry on the other, sacred sites ticking.
Yeah, we're about 8 minutes 30 for that one. These warrior monks are just, they just pack a punch. You know, that little bit of damage, a little bit of Saint's Blessing, you love to see it. Villagers for Muhodo, he's trying to shore up a little bit. He knows he's got some time before he hits that Imperial Age button. And if he just runs into all these Imperial Age forces, it's going to be rough. But Anotand did a good job of making sure he had all of his upgrades. That trebuchet going down rather easily. I think now with this mass,
it's about to come
yeah.
in.
Let's see it. what?
Villagers gonna evacuate from the other side, right? Boiling oil comes in.
Takes down a decent amount of health out of those guys. Oh,
That's not
Trebuchet
the
in the
kind
back.
of oil Muhodo wants. Not the kind of oil the Byzantines want. Parry comes in. So should be able to deal with that. One more boiling oil. Yeah, he got some good damage out of that keep.
Absolutely. And I mean, because all of these units, all of this big longbow mass, these Varangian Guard, they're all trying to take down this keep. Look what Anotand's doing. He's on the western side of his base. He's ready to dive right in there.
Yeah, now he's pushing the front side. Elite men-at-arms as well, +2 pierce armor compared to normal Castle Age men-at-arms. That means even the longbowmen, they're not going to be able to do any damage to them. Muhodo, he's trying to get the age up behind all of this as well. It just doesn't really feel too feasible for him right now getting there. This might be it. Food economy. A landmark at the front. All the farms around it. Starting to get idled out now. And TC doesn't really do any damage at this point in time against this much pierce armor.
I was going to say, yeah, with all those men-at-arms, good luck, right? The only thing that you're going to have in terms of a ranged damage is probably some crossbows if he has a decent amount of them, but Anotand does have a lot. He's elite crossbowman. He just got elite horseman as well. So if there is a longbowman mass, those horsemen might have something to say about it. Cracky, I think we're going to get some juicy Megadel shots if Muhodo's not careful.
I think so too. The old trap. Almost. It was a decent one.
Not as bad, but definitely made it back up, right? A lot of these longbowmen are in
It burned the farm. That's value.
Look at all. Oh man, this is rough for him. I don't know if Anotand did get adjustable crossbars. Most likely not, based on the way I saw that hit kind of go. Muhodo going with the foreign engineering company and spent all of that resource into that building. I feel like he might get overrun.
Yeah, this is a difficult one. Foreign engineering company coming in. That would give him a lot of, well, units that he could dump olive oil into, but he doesn't have that much olive oil in reserve. Could maybe get one nest of bees in. That's about it.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot. I mean, the majority of his food economy was right here, right, on the winery, and his oil income, for that matter, too. So even if he wanted to use that engineering company, he doesn't have enough oil to lather his hands up to try to make something out of it. So it's going to prove to be difficult. He needs a lot of upgrades. He has 58 longbowmen. He needs that Imperial contract right now to get those longbowmen to do any kind of damage.
Yeah, keep getting rushed up now. Trying to secure his farming area. Keep doesn't really protect any gold. It's just the food economy there that is being protected. And I mean, Sacred Site's still ticking, and still so many horsemen. He's going to be able to keep Muhodo on his toes. He's going to be able to make sure that Muhodo needs to react to what he's doing. Keeps on all the Sacred Sites as well.
Yeah, he's shoring up these Sacred Sites 4.5 minutes in, and he's getting a little bit of a visual as of what's going on in the Byzantine Empire. You know, he knows that gold is that important, and that's the only safe gold on that eastern side. He's got wooden fortresses that he's going to build around just to make sure if anybody vacates or leaves. So definitely has that ability. The Imperial Age contract will be completed, so he'll have a lot of longbows, but adjustable crossbars in for Anotand. We could see some devastating shots. We're not even going to. Muhodo taps out.
Yeah, the writing was on the wall there. Muhodo, he's going to call GG. That means Anotand is now going to be on match point in this best of 5.
Wow, take a look at some of those resources. I mean, Anotand, 81,000 total resources to 55. Are you kidding me? Yeah, no wonder he
some
won.
pro scouts, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, no wonder. I mean, he did get probably about 3 deer packs in the beginning, but it's that gold, man. Like, he gets the 4 relics, all of the high trade house gold and the sacred sites. It's just way too much.
Yeah, 100%. EGC fight in the mid game. That was one of those great fights that Muhodo took. I feel like if he just went for the push a little bit earlier there, he would have been in a much better position overall. Like in this situation, if you just kept on pushing Grant, there still was a couple of raids going on, but you can deal with those with reinforcements. But this army that he had at the front side, that would have definitely been able to do some devastating damage inside of Anotand's base.
Yeah, I think so too. It looks like even just in this fight as he's continuing to push, like the longbowmen felt like they were doing something, right?
Yeah, and
And
this
then
was
once-
like 10 minutes later.
right. And then you get like this later part where it feels like they're not really doing anything at all. And I think it's just maybe the sheer mass of longbowmen or sheer mass of men-at-arms, excuse me, that were
Yeah.
there.
It's just so many, and the men-at-arm crossbows definitely a better composition in this mass than longbows and men-at-arms, right? Especially when you're not really up to snuff there when it comes to the men-at-arm department in the army count.
Yeah, what do you? I'm curious. What do you think about Muhodo's contract choice? Because obviously we're seeing a lot of these longbowmen kite, but do you think javelin throwers would have been better in this spot?
No, I think longbows are the better unit there. Just straight up.
Right.
You attack faster. You have a much better tool up against the crossbows, because in theory, both with javelin throwers and with longbows, you're gonna have to micro. The main difference there being you just have a lot more range on those longbows, and you attack a good bit faster. So you're able to, like, with two groups with micro, you're still gonna overkill, but you're gonna kill a lot quicker with the longbows than with the javelin throwers.
Yeah. No, that's very true. I could definitely see that. Now, I was thinking more so for the javelin throwers having their base damage a little bit higher, but I definitely, yeah, I agree with you on the longbowmen. And we're seeing the very end of this game where Muhodo tries to get up that foreign engineering company, and that will remain a foreign mystery after that game 2 is over. So Anotand is on match point in this pivotal game number 3. I'm very curious to see what maps and what civs we're going to be picking on this one.
Yeah, and it looks like we are going to get Dry Arabia with Ayubids versus the Malians here. Malians coming in for Muhodo, Ayubids for Anotand. That's going to be an interesting one. Like, we've seen Malians just being very, very strong today. Overall, just having the ability with the cow boom to just put a lot more units on the map than your opponent can realistically put out when you're both on max population. It's such a dangerous situation to go up against, because sure, hand in hand, like one-on-one, the Malian units aren't overly powerful. But when you have like 50% more military units on the field, then that's when it starts becoming a little bit scary. They're like the opposite of the Order of the Dragon.
Yeah, absolutely. You just have more of them, right? So it's for Order of the Dragon, you're talking about more quality. Malians, we're talking about quantity. Let's see the quantity that Muhodo is going to be able to push out. His back is against the wall in this best of 5. It's win to stay in. Anotand's trying to move on with this one as the Ayubids. Now, when you're going up, Krakeny, when you are the Ayubids and you're going up against the Malians, excuse me, what kind of unit are you thinking about? What kind of unit do you want to start with?
When you're up against the Malians as the Ayubids, I think in most situations, especially with the spawn that we've got here from Muhodo, I think Ayubids probably just want to play a little bit into feudal age, maybe get some horsemen out, maybe some spearmen, and just try and put some early aggression onto those pit mines. You can't really lean too much into the Desert Raider, I want to say, mainly because the both the Dunzo and the Javelin Thrower both counter them out quite effectively. I think you could definitely make use of a little bit of early aggression as well, because if you're able to just bide a little time in Feudal Age, do some damage to your opponent as well, if you're able to get up to Golden Age Tier 2 by the time you hit Castle Age, you're going to be able to get upgrades in very, very quickly.
Yeah, that certainly helps the transition. You're absolutely right. I'm pretty sure it's 20 buildings, is that correct? For getting up to that age too.
Should be. And wait, okay, we are getting Culture Wing in, and it is going to be Advancement Wing as well. So, yeah, we're probably going to see some very quick aggression coming out of Anotand here.
That's great. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, against the Malians, I think this is a pretty good pick. You know, this gold, all of the gold that Muhodo has, look how forward this is. I think Anotand's starting to play the map he's given.
How many villagers does Anotand have on gold? Is this going to be for aggression or for something else? He's only got one villager on gold right now, so I don't think it's going to be pro scouts. Unless he suddenly starts pulling a lot of villagers over there. No, we are getting the barracks first. So it is going to be aggression on that pit mine.
Yeah, I mean, you have that first gold that's forward, the second gold that's forward. He has one back gold on the southeastern side of the map, but it's kind of wild, you know, having this advancement wing. Obviously, he's going to get up very, very quickly. The Mansa Quarry isn't going to be done for probably another minute or so, maybe even longer. So, I don't know. Anotand looks like he's going to try to cook. Let's give him the pan, let's give him a spatula, and let's see what he can do with it.
Yeah, no olive oil needed this time. He's cooking it raw. Wait, is that a villager? Okay, villager moving out as well. So we're getting an outpost? Yeah, this is just going to be early aggression onto the pit mines. 3-minute age up. Spearmen on their way. I mean, do you even need the age up then? If you could have started doing this in Dark Age. I guess now your opponent doesn't see it coming and didn't prepare his barracks. Boom! That's the reason.
we got hardened spearmen out here, dude. Okay? Not just regular Dark Age spearmen. They're hardened.
Very hard.
Pause. Yeah, just, you know what, just let it go. You can take over. That's enough for me.
So yeah, it looks like we are gonna start seeing some early aggression coming in from Anotand. Oh, we are getting a villager pull as well. Oh no. Oh no, you don't want to pull villagers into this many spearmen already. Oh no. Oh, he's pulling even more. No. Oh no. I think instead of birding, just try and go for the villager. Kill the villager with your villager. Oh.
Yeah, and I'm not honestly like, I've been noticing like doing that against tower rushes is you can kind of like wrap your villagers around the other villager so it can't escape, and then you end up shivving it down. But the outpost does go down.
2 villagers down. I mean, oh god. That's 2 villagers down now, and what's Anotand doing? He's just gathering up a little bit more wood. He's gonna go for another outpost.
Yep, and archery range coming up for Muhodo, so definitely gonna be going with archers, obviously. Makes a lot of sense with that outpost that is going to try to get created now. If you're careful with this micro, maybe Anotand can ward off. Oh my god, it's a javelin thrower.
Yeah, not the unit I would have expected.
Oh god.
Oh god.
These guys are pissed. They're so mad, dude. They're going to be trying to take down that tower. Every Malian villager, well, most of them anyway, is going to be running over here. One javelin thrower and 1,000,000 torches. Let's see if this tower ends up going down. Muhodo is, I have a feeling he's really panicked.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of mental damage that went into this decision. Just like, you're down 2-0 right now. Your opponent is going advancement wing Iubits against you with early spearmen. Like the mental is affected. Mind controlled, so to say.
I mean, this game is over, right?
It very much is, yeah. I mean, he's 4 villages behind Iubits that went advancement wing. He's losing his pit mine.
Four vills behind. That pit mine's gone. Just like you said, he's gonna. So in terms of the passive resources that the Malians are so famous for, he's on a whopping 0.
And now he's
passive
going
resources.
pro scouts.
Oh my god.
And you know what's funny? Behind this, like Anotand, there's only javelins out at the moment. He could just fall back to the outpost. He already has siege engineering in. He could just make a ram in order to burn this all down.
Oh yeah, because he's Iubids, right?
Yeah, he's already got
just
siege engineering.
Yeah, go ahead and make it. You know, we have a decent amount of villagers on wood still. He's got a little bit on stone, most likely to try to get like arrow slits or some kind of fortification for it. But this definitely put a massive wrench in the Malian game plan to the point where I don't think Muhodo really knows what he's going for. The southeastern pit mine will now get completed, but Anotand probably scouted every gold mine that's around here and knows that this is probably the only safe one.
Eight spearmen out on the field. Only just now are we getting the first archer in. Archers obviously doing a lot better of a job against those spearmen than javelin throwers would.
You know what? This kind of reminds me of how the Mongols play, right? You're so consumed with what's going on in your own base, you're not thinking about what's going on behind it, right? So Anotand going with that pro scouts just means, yeah, you're dealing with spears and towers and all this stuff. You're not really thinking about what's going on the outside of the map. You're going pro scouts. You don't even have one right now. So Anotand's going to be able to scoop up all of these deer.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really that Muhodo can really do at this point in time against it. He's going for his own pro scout now, but the deer are already on the way back from Anotand. He's taking them.
Well, he doesn't have a scout. He can get pro scouts. He can't pick up anything.
This isn't pro scouts. This is amateur scouts.
Oh, there we go. There's the stable. Gonna need something.
Yeah, this hurts right now. I mean, this is a very difficult spot to be in as Muhodo. You're down 2-0. You're put in a difficult position now. This is one of your first tournament appearances in a major tournament. Nerfs obviously do play a role here at this point in time. So with that early villager pull, psychic damage has been done.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of the biggest hurdle for Muhodo. It felt like he really, when you're dealing with a tower rush, you know, I kind of feel like it's put up or shut up, right? Either you go find a different gold or you get attacked and get aggressive with it. He chose the aggressive route, but all of those villagers that ended up getting lost and those torches being hit, that idle time was just way too much. So now he does have the warrior scout upgrade. Pro scouts has been completed, so he's going to be looking for some safe food. Let's just see if it's enough food, because both those deer packs, Crackety, they're on opposite sides, but they're both forward.
Yeah, they are. They are, well, to the sides-ish, but definitely forward from Muhodo's point of view. Definitely not easy to get onto them, but he's having trouble just keeping up with the military mass. Looking at the income here behind all of that, Muhodo, it's fairly similar overall. But Anotand, he's just got so many resources left in the bank as well. He can easily afford an age up within the next minute, half a minute even.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what he's going to do. You know, but he does have enough food per minute to continue with a couple more horsemen, which he did. He'll be adding an archer or two because most likely he's expecting the Donzo. But getting that pit mine down, that's probably the only safe gold that's there. Going to be quite the issue. Muhodo using warrior scouts, trying to get some deer, not being as effective as he might like. And then all of a sudden, Castle Age is going to come up in a minute and a half, and Muhodo is going to be down a mile.
Yeah, this is a really, really tough one. At least he is getting some deer in underneath his base, but age up has been just clicked for Anotand. Can we quickly check the House of Wisdom, see which one it is? I think it's going to be Eco Wing Growth, but could be something else. No, it is going to be Economic Wing Growth here. Coming in for Anotand, so 7 villagers coming his way in just a little bit.
Wow, and look at this, even a little bit of a cow boom as well. Muhodo in the back. It's actually no slouch at his food per minute. He's doing pretty okay. And then all of a sudden, we're going to see some of these cattle come up, but those are resources that I feel like you just kind of need to either stay alive or go up.
Yeah, I mean, this is almost an impossible situation, I want to say. Muhodo, he is getting some cattle in behind this. Tries to go for his own cattle transition. It's not that many yet, though.
No, I think he's just incrementally putting them. You know, maybe just a little bit. He's not going full scale onto those cows. So red meat, not necessarily on the menu totally yet. But if you're Anotand, and now that you're going Castle Age, that Warrior Scout is going to go down, what unit are you thinking about making here? I mean, he's got an archery, he's got a stable, and he has a barracks. He can make anything he wants.
I mean, for Anotand, honestly, he can just start pumping in Golem compared together with archers. Pretty much anything armored with archers together is going to be the way to go for Anotand. For Muhodo, on the other hand side, I don't really see too many options for him, as right now he is really just investing a lot into his catalyst as well as like his own age up potentially. But the timing is going to be very, very off for him. When it comes to the units that he could make overall, it's just Musafati warriors and javelin throwers, some Donzos as well. Those are like the main units that I would expect to be seeing from him.
Yeah, I guess, that makes a lot of sense just because of how squishy those Musafati are if you choose to spend the resources on them, and those Gulams are going to have free reign over that area as well. But choosing a little bit something different, going with Camel Lancers, I kind of feel like you're at this level that he's not going to have enough Donzos for you anyway, for the most part. So if you're going to be able to pump those Camel Lancers out 3, maybe 4 at a time, you have a good spot. But Grand Filani Corral coming out with just a triad of those cows.
Ooh, Horseman trying to look for burn through. The units from Muhodo are going to be there to protect up against that. First Camel Lancers coming in. Lots of Camel Lancers out as well. Mosk already built. First Dervish in queue. Anton going to start getting some of those relics in. The opposite front side. I mean, protecting pretty much or rather denying 2 of the gold mines in front of Muhodo's base. It's been very difficult for him to get the gold that he needed in order to get the cattle out. We are seeing a switch up into Sofa Musafati now from Muhodo. He's gonna need a lot of them.
Yeah, no, he absolutely is. And gotta remember with these Sofa, like, I get that they have imported armor and whatever. They get a little bit of increase, melee armor and ranged armor. The Camels still provide a little bit of unease. I feel like they're not going to pack the punch that you necessarily want them to. The Musafati that are coming in with it, though, are going to be those damage dealers. So we'll see if he does end up having the mass to deal with it. But that Camel Lancer, no ranged armor. He doesn't even care. He's just diving right in. Drackety ends up
What's
going
on here? We having a party?
Yeah, and then quickly learned the result of that party. It looks like there was too much Kool-Aid over there for him to be drinking, but continuing to push on those. And just like you said, Crackety, adding some of those archers against the Malians. Archers are your best friend.
Oh, and Anton, he's looking out for that relic. He wants a safe relic from Muhodo. That is so cheeky and so heartbreaking for Muhodo at the same time. Yeah, he's not defending that one. The Dervish, it's just picking it up and running away.
Hey, look at that thing. Oh my god, that Dervish wobbling around. It kind of does remind me, just based on the speed of it, of course, it kind of reminds me of Warrior Monk kind of thing, obviously with no attack to it, but it does have the same speed when it has a relic in its hand.
Yeah, it's a quick one. It's a quick boy. That means that Anotand, realistically, is going to get all 5 relics in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Muhodo's stuck in his base, right? Every time he tries to come out, there's that outpost over on the front side. Maybe he'll finally get a chance at torching it down, but it is fortified. Might prove to be difficult. Imported armor now coming in for Muhodo, so we'll be able to deflect a lot of that archer fire, but Camel Lancer's making the front line. Anotand's starting to add some siege. That's our first Manjanique out there.
First Manjanique of many, for sure. As we do know, Anotand, he loves those heated shots. Those incendiary shots from the Manjanique. Those can do some real damage to the Malian economy. Not just to the cattle, but the houses as well. Housing infrastructure. All the production buildings are for it as well. Yeah, Anotand, he's just got to burn them down. Yeah, he's like Nero in Rome right now, looking at all the potential cinder in front of him.
Oof, Sofas take a flash with those Camel Lancers and a little bit of Horsemen. Not really too great, but did end up staying alive. That Manjanique. Look at the flip. Oh, yeah. Look at those. Oh, yeah. Goodness gracious. Great balls of fire, let me tell you.
That's a barbecue if I've ever seen one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait. Oh, you want to see barbecue? Wait till he gets to those cattle ranches.
Getting that prime Wagyu beef roasted up on an open flame.
Yeah, this is just difficult, right? He's going to have to, if his production does go down, he's going to have to build it somewhere else. I think that Manjanique might be a little, I thought it was a little bit unsafe, but I think there's enough units for Anotand to come in here. Military mass for the Ibid, 68 to the Malians, 38. We talked about the Malians having like 50 plus military units on you, Muhodo isn't able to really build that up as much as he'd like.
Yeah. Second Manjanique now coming in. That's a great attribute of a Manjanique, just kind of like combining the power of a Trebuchet and a Mangonel.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy because, I mean, trebuchets are not a cheap unit either. I mean, obviously they do their damage to buildings, but it's a lot of food, or a lot of wood, excuse me. Those sofas get a wrap on that Manjanique. Finally, will go down, but another one just got finished building. Those sofas, I mean, not only, I mean, yeah, they're going to be good at taking down Manjaniques, but they're quite an expensive unit too.
Yeah, definitely are. First of the barracks now on fire. Anton going for even more Manjaniques. Like, once you're up to like 3, 4, you start taking these buildings down really, really quickly. Archers, Granthis aren't Abbasid Archers of Comp, I suppose. They're still gonna do their job quite well up against the military units that Muhodo has, because right now it's just, for the majority, Musafati warriors.
Yeah, it is. And it looks like Malians could be trying to get their own siege to try to combat the Anotand siege. So having Mangonel against Manjanique shooting rocks at each other might prove to be beneficial. But definitely, with how many archers Anotand has, right, and he's continuing to pump them, this is age-old Ayubids, man. Get to Castle Age, get that power spike, and just close the game out.
Yeah. Under repair coming in on that stable. That's another issue with this Manjanique, right? Because some of the fire shots are gonna hit your villagers that are repairing. So slowly but surely you are going to take damage on those villagers as well. Every now and then some shots do land.
Even Anotand with the presence of mind, as you see that one rock did hit a lot of those villagers, but the presence of mind for Anotand to pull a villager, right, to repair that Manjanique just to make sure that he's in a good spot. Sacred Site countdown not going to get starting as Anotand's Dervish ends up going down. I feel like Muhodo, he's just trying to compile as many units as possible, but is he delaying the inevitable, Crackety?
It definitely feels like those sofas, they've just been on the run the entire time from those Camel Lancers. There's nothing really feasible at the moment for Muhodo to do against what's awaiting him in front of his base. He's building up a lot of Musafati warriors, but that's about it. It's mainly Musafati warriors. Some Mangonels from his side as well. I feel like it's not going to be enough because there's also 20 Camel Lancers. Now we're seeing some big incendiary shots that are about to come in.
I mean, that's the thing too, Crackety, is, yeah, he's got 20 Camel Lancers, but like, there's 40 archers back here. Sofa running through the fire and flames. A lot of those Musafati got peppered down as well. Those Manjaniques might not be long, but Musafati trying to get around there. Manjaniques end up staying alive. Looks like Mangonels are going to be targeting each other. Muhodo trying to get some shots off in that big archer mass, and it looks like almost none of those archers went down. Now finally, 5 or 6 of them going down. But then when you look to your south, Crackety, just a little bit, the Malian army, it's gone.
It is all gone. GG comes in. Anotand able to win the series in a 3-0 clean sweep. Muhodo, in his first time in one of those big S-tier tournaments, making it all the way through to the main event. And in the end, he gave us a very good show overall. This is going to be the first thing that we see from Muhodo. Definitely looking forward to seeing more from him.
Yeah, super good performance. I mean, this for Muhodo, not in this series per se, but leading up to it, you know, going through the ringer. There were some players, obviously some of the most notable names, got the qualification automatically. Muhodo had to fight for it, and he had to fight very well. He took down his place in the qualifiers and just made a name for himself here in a main event for EGC. So big shout out for Muhodo. Anotand will be moving on. I'm not really sure who he's playing. Do we have the brackets updated for it next weekend, or is that going to take a little bit of time?
I think we should already know who Anotand's going to be playing up against. I do believe. I'm trying to check right now. Production could help me as well. It would be very much appreciated. I'd find right now. I'm looking. I'm not finding it. Look, there we
Boom.
go, there we go. Oh my god, yeah, we're getting it. We're getting the big screen as well. So we got Marine Lord versus Vortex, Wham up against Beastie, Puppy Paw against Balltune, and Louis MT up against Anotand.
And you could see how important it is for all of these series that were today, right? This winner go home kind of series, because it buys yourself a little bit of time, right? You can get yourself to the finals, right? You can get yourself to this area to get through. Maybe if you take a loss in the winner's bracket, you still have a way down in the loser's bracket to try to get there. So it's going to be a wild tournament, wild series, as this tournament definitely has, I think, a couple weeks left even. So there's a lot more Age of Empires to play. But taking a look at what we saw from today, Muhodo, I think this is one of his better fights of the series, Crackety.
Yeah, I think this as well. Like, this fight from Muhodo really showing off that he does do a very good job when it comes to the micro there, when it comes to decision making in these fights. I think for the most part was just like the decision making in the game when it came to the macro play, the HRE, and I really enjoyed what we saw at the beginning of that game, where Anton, he took those spearmen and, you know, he just took his enemy steer and lured them all the way to his cliffside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're seeing a little bit of an idea of what to do against some of that stuff. So kiting your own deer is obviously going to be beneficial, and that's something that the top of the top are going to be able to pull off, right? They have some of the best micro and some of the best situational awareness that Age of Empires 4 has to offer. And speaking about that, Anotand had all of those men-at-arms. He knew that that was going to be the play to end the game, just funneling men-at-arms in that game number one in a spot where I feel like Muhodo had a decent chance. And this second game that we saw on Gorge, the amount of men-at-arms from the Roost, not something I expected to actually say today. All of these Roost men-at-arms being the MVP.
Yeah, it's just so many of them, up to 35 now. 35 from the Longbowman as well, but that's not the direct counter. The Longbowman does a great job in numbers, even against armored units like the men-at-arms, but if you don't have the number advantage, all you can do is kite back.
Yeah, absolutely. And he did lose a decent amount here because that boiling oil just smothered in rather ironic fashion. Boiling oil taking down the Byzantine army in that one. Game number 3, this outpost was the most important thing. Well, not that one specifically. It's going to be this one. Yeah, the one that actually goes up. Some villagers going down. Some villagers, some spearmen getting their pokes in. This was devastating.
It was. It absolutely was. Then through the end, we had that last big fight. Lots of Musafati warriors. But Musafati warriors just aren't quite what you need when you're faced against this many archers and camel lancers, and still Manjaniques coming in with their shots as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for the Ibid archers, it was target practice, man. You know, and then there just weren't enough Musafatis to kind of take them down. So you're right. I mean, when we talked about the Malians before, it's because they get a lot of military in that last, that in late stage economy. They're usually the first one to hit, but that much disruption that they had throughout that game, Muhodo was never able to get there. Anotand did a very good job. Do we have an interview with Mr. Anotand?
There should be an
interview
I'd love to hear coming up. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're gonna throw to it.
All right, we're jumping straight into. Oh, hey Vortex! Glad that you're joining us right there. I'm just kidding around. Anotand, congratulations! You're through to the playoffs. How you feeling, man? Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Mic check. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Oh,
one.
Oh, no.
Do you hear me, my friend?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you. Anotand,
hooray! Yeah.
Congratulations. You're through to the playoffs. How are you feeling after that set? I know it was a little bit of a later one for you.
It's fine. I mean, I was a bit out of practice because of my health issues, but I managed to win versus Muhodo. Yeah, I'm really glad of it because I think, like, some people criticized Group D, like Scarlet Devil, Muhodo, weaker, but I think overall our group seems pretty strong, and yeah, overall based on performance, we can say that Group D is not the weakest, I think. Come on, we have Group B score. Like,
Yeah, I mean, your group definitely. There were some points, right? Like you had Wham, That definitely should make
yeah.
up for it. People that are calling Group D, they're intentionally calling out Wham there, so they definitely should need to like calm down there a little bit. It was overall still a pretty good group. Skull Devil. I mean, we had some first upcomers there with Muhodo and Skull Devil that definitely want to show where they are positioned when it comes to the esports scene. And I think we definitely overall got a very good showing from them. Overall, your opinion, like how did you feel Muhodo was playing so far? Because obviously this was like his first big performance. Do you think he's gonna do great in the future?
I think both Scarlet Devil and Muhodo are really great newcomers, and if they keep practicing, we might see them in top 10, maybe even in top 8. But the problem is, yeah, you need to, after lose, you don't need to like give up. You need to hard practice even after like there's no big tournaments. If they will keep
Mhm.
playing right now, they will be stars in next one.
Yeah. I want to talk to you a little bit about that game one that you had with HRE up against China, because you did something that I personally have been thinking was quite a nice counter to both the Pro Scout build and as well as the No IO build, where you went for the early Dark Age Spearman opening. Because right now, like, you know how without going for an IO, if you deny the gold, there's no gold income for the Chinese until they're able to get that age up in. And something as well that you did with the deer that we've seen actually multiple times. You've been luring the deer a lot. Was it something that you planned beforehand, or did you just notice it in that game and were like, okay, yeah, I can make use of these spearmen still?
Yeah, I just saw the map like cliffside like a bit closer. And like before Pro Scouts meta, I had a conversation with 3D Cat, and he said that Dark Age Berk versus China is OP. Like 1 month ago, I thought that he's crazy, but yeah, now we in Pro Scout meta, and it's really like feels like a right way to play this matchup. So yeah, I played this because of 3D Cat. He told me to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Before
I
build.
think that is definitely a good way to play that up against the current Chinese meta, the way that they don't open up with that Imperial official. Something else that I want to pick your brain on, or rather get your opinion on. You already know who your opponent is going to be in the playoffs. You're going to be facing off against Louis MT. Do you have any like big plan up against him, or what's your confidence level going into that set?
I'm glad that I didn't show him my water maps because yeah, I pick some versus Muhodo, and I obviously would have showed my best strats on it. I'm glad that I have some few like little preparations versus him, and maybe it will work out. I think we have kinda even score at tournaments, so it might be close.
Interesting, interesting. So definitely something to look forward to. Anotand, I don't want to keep you going here for too long. Don't want to hold you up. Thank you so much for playing here today. We're going to be looking forward to seeing more of you in the playoffs. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you a lot. Hopefully we'll like discuss uh, yeah, some controversial things in our community. Hopefully we'll agree that some like stuff should go another way. But yeah, overall, I like what is going on, and hopefully it will be a continued future.
Yeah, likewise. All right. See you in the next one. Let's